Hi there, and welcome to Celeb Hut. You'll not Viva Fox is attempting to uncover 50 Cent for being a DL sibling. Everyone realizes that 50 and Viva disdain each other's guts since they separated quite a while back. However, the wreck just exploded all over again. Viva guarantees that 50 Cent is covertly gay. This is somewhat stunning in light of the fact that 50 Cent is known for uncovering DL rappers, ridiculing them, and calling them fiery anyway. As per Viva, the reason 50 has been continuing forever about it, and why gay individuals live rent-free in his mind is on the grounds that he's subtly one of them, and she professes to have a few receipts. Well, 50 Cent obviously isn't here for any of this, and he went off on Viva, disgracing her for attempting to out him. You all need to get in the room on this show, on the grounds that these two are presenting some new brew of MC. However he wash, that is the reason he's dependably ready to call other on being a washbirds of AFEA group. Together that is valid game perceived game, it's absolutely impossible that on the planet that man comprehends that much about gay dealings in the business is continually getting down on individuals. And he ain't seen none of it by and by you all. I don't have any idea what's been happening between 50 Cent and his ex Viva Fox. However, these two are once again at it again, hauling each other for rottenness and being chaotic. I mean, it has been a long time since their relationship finished, yet these two actually disdain each other, as though they just separated. Keep going. Weak based on genuine terrible conditions, it presumably has something to do with the way that 50 Cent pulled a jerk move and openly said a final farewell to her on a public broadcast just a short time after. Where they began dating, you mean they don't date it for quite some time, and after 21 years, she's actually stumbling. However, you all understand what they say, he'll have no rage like a lady. Disdain. The two started dating in 2003, amazing each and every individual who knew them. They were direct inverses, however, as the idiom goes, opposites are drawn toward each other, and the main touch of their growing relationship came at the bet grants from 50 Cent said something about Viva's dress during his discourse. You realize I need to say thanks to Viva Fox for wearing that dress. Applause music too. You all, she was cheesing extra hard, attempting to get her a youthful kindling. Great. Certain individuals say that was the second she succumbed to him, and truly it's not hard to accept that since, like I said, she was swound. Now one thing prompted another, and in no time they began dating. They made their public presentation at the 2003 MTV Video Music Grants, in the honorary pathway, clasping hands, discuss an extremely hard send-off. However, the fans had been conjecturing, and this demonstrated them right. Their relationship was the most smoking subject, as were their vocations. It was an insane time back in the mid-2000s, and 50 Cent was quite possibly of the most blazing rapper on the blog since he had as of late delivered his collection, Get Rich or Kick the Bucket Triumph, which sold an insane 12 million duplicates around the world. In the meantime, Vivica Fox was killing it on her acting profession, featuring in significant motion pictures like Freedom Day, Set It Off, Southern Fare, to can play that game, and Kill Bill. So once upon a time, these two were one of the power couples in the business for their little 8 months. So clearly they were in the public eye constantly, yet VI wouldn't fret, since she was at that point overwhelmed with passion for 50 Cent. Let her tell it, particularly in light of the fact that he was dealing with her like a sovereign at the time. Overwhelmed filled my whole house. See, with my #1 blossoms, which are Casablancas and Gardinas, he's extremely heartfelt, and he resembles a major teddy bear. And see, I realize that side of him, and he's actual sweet and extremely kind and gives the best embrace. 50 Cent appeared to be enamored with Viva too, wanting to propose to her. Was he in love with you, especially? I believe that the motivation behind why it spooked me for so long is here. I figured out later that he needed to propose to me, so that is the reason. Okay, what should be a 12-carat wedding band transformed into a couple of studs? And all since Viva drove 50 mad and he adjusted his perspective on the proposition. Is it genuine that you transformed the 12-carat ring into a pair of hoops? The absence of protection and opening up to the world too early were some significant warning issues, since, like I said, they were all over the place and everyone had their noses. And 50 and Viva's business, the age hole was an issue too. She was 38 and he was 27, and let Viva could perceive it, that showed him his adolescence. However, assuming you feel that 50 once in a while acts juvenile now, and he's an entire 48, might you at any point envision how juvenile he was at 27? Well, 50 was in any event convinced Essing with everyone about their affection life and all that they were doing, which most certainly irritated Viva, since who needs to have their personal minutes broadcast before the world? Most certainly not Viva. Gracious man, my adoration life is incredible. Like the initial time, however, when Viv gives you the go-ahead and says she going to get exposed in your bed, is it wonderful? Definitely, it's energizing. Are you ready to hold out quite a while? No, is she uproarious in bed? Like, is she make a on of clamor? She make a great deal of clamor. Yet it seemed as though 50C felt like he was losing his troublemaker picture, which drove him to part ways with Viva anyway. He didn't do it eye to eye. Rather, Viva found out she had been unloaded through a public broadcast, and I surmise he went on his European visit, yes. And by then I surmise the relationship began to sort of lapse goo. No, the relationship separated later. The World Music Grants I returned, and he was on the radio saying he unloaded me. You figure out on the radio, definitely my companion, called me. I was in Baltimore recording the salon, and my companion, you beautician, whose name is skipping me right now. Goodness, my companion, Daryl Brown, called me and said, yo, your kid's on the radio, impacting you. And first I went, who? And he resembled 50 Cent. I resembled Curtis. He like, no doubt I telling everyone you folks separated, and I was, as we did, So he never by and by said it's a rap on the radio. Definitely, however, when I and you realized that was his direction when I glum. Once back at it now, music. You realize as he returned to being that troublemaker, cuz you realize we truly cherished each other a ton at the time. He humiliate Viva toward the front of the entire world by telling everyone he didn't formally say a final farewell to her. He recently quit calling. Ghosted her, yet in the event that wasn't awful sufficient, he continued endlessly about how she was just involving him for exposure, which is wow, since we saw him take the principal action on her shit. Dump you, or you unloaded her. Be straightforward, alright? I ain't calling no more. Goodness, truly, to quit calling all around. Well, everything happened. She said to you to quit calling. Nah, I quit calling. I felt like her individuals was exploiting what is happening to the extent that are public. They were involving you for exposure. Really great for you. No, it could never have been involving me for exposure, cuz then, at that point, you realize in a way you're the most sizzling thing out there. Finitely, however, in the, then it would be, we could never have been together personally yet. For what reason did you think her kin? What were her individuals doing? However, toward the day's end, they just couldn't deal with all the exposure and the expectation that their relationship was destroying. The primary thing that what the relationship was, that we just went too open too quick. Like a colossal learning example. For me, you realize it was whenever that I first opened up to the world about the relationship that I ought to have perhaps taken the time to get to know him. Yes, anyway, she hadn't arrived for him, attempting to score modest focuses by guaranteeing that she was involving him for exposure by means of couldn't keep silent about what 50 had said, so she needed to tell the world. She wasn't involving him for exposure in any case. The relationship, didn't figure out. However, the press endured much longer than the relationship. So I mean, for what reason do you figure the press does that? For what reason do they like attack the lady? Since when I read that stuff I resembled, it's so Rouse, it wasn't the press, it was him. Gracious. It was him. He was like, she's taking advantage of me. She's attempting to involve me for, to get exposure, and which was so false. I was going to be in a film with, winning entertainers, and I've been representing years. Yet you realize I recently viewed as that ghetto love that was his approach to managing the yet, despite the fact that at 50 was the person who said a final farewell to Viva. He was all the while being additional negligible after he'd even dissed her in a portion of his melodies, like in his tune Get in My Vehicle, where he said my game F with the beer until she assumed she spouse consume her time on earth. Reserve funds in the day cause she prefers me, responsibility from me. Not likely went out. Viva, I assumed I was onto something. However, at that point, the following week, nah man, it was nothing. He made it a pat. As though he wasn't even dedicated to Viva the entire time, making her awful search before the entire world, and Viva was wounded by the melody. She depicted it as appalling and embarrassing trust for me. How I felt driving down the road, and it would come on the radio, that tune no doubt better. Believe it or the game rapping about me, definitely, and he was his craftsman at the time. That was horrendous to survive it. Broke my heart. However, I actually cherished him several months after the fact. He connected with her to attempt to fix things, guaranteeing that he had turned another jump and yakety yak. He even requested that she be in his music video and forget about the past so they can push ahead. How could you all make up who called him? I called her. You did, no doubt. That is so sweet. What did? You say when you called her, I said you gotta quit battling me and get my video, and she said she was astounded that I really connected, definitely no doubt, and your companions currently better believe it. Would you at any point date her again? Well, the tune is about when connections don't work, and when I made sense of it for her, you realize it sort of strengthened what was going on with the tune with me, her being a person when the public considers us to be in that relationship. Subscribe Celeb Hut for more videos.